Hitting up that 10-minute walk, everybody. Getting on it. This is, I walked pretty good this morning, so this is number 2. 10-minute walk number 2. Remember, don't go making those 10-minute walks too long, because you'll screw everything up. You won't have time for another 10-minute walk later. And if you do like one 30-minute walk, it'll probably cut into other stuff that you have to do. Then you have to do that other stuff later on, and then you're screwed. So get in 3 a day. Keep yourself active. A couple easy things to do. I did a video a little while back called Be Less Fat, and Bodybuilding.com picked it up. It's going to be the title of a book that I'm going to make. Probably won't take too long to write, because I'm going to keep it really simple, keep it really short, get to the point. Let me just give you guys a couple things that I think can help you be less fat. Some areas that maybe you're not thinking about. So let's talk about, number 1 is these 10-minute walks are great, okay? Get in a couple 10-minute walks, and in addition to the 10-minute walks, let's push that a little further, and let's also just talk about, figure out a way to always be doing something during the day. Obviously, we need our sleep, but never do nothing. Any opportunity that you have to stand instead of sit, take it. If at work you can request a stand-up desk, stand up, because you'll burn more calories. Sometimes it's a little safer for your neck, and sometimes a little safer for our anatomy, or for our body, the way we're made up, right? Stand up whenever you have the opportunity. Anytime you have the opportunity to walk instead of just stand, walk. If there's an opportunity for you to take the stairs instead of using an elevator, do so. If you're in an airport and there's an opportunity for you to walk instead of going on the people mover thing, just walk along the walk along the side of the people mover conveyor thing, whatever the hell those things are called, and see if you can even walk faster than somebody that's already walking on there, right? Any opportunities we have to move, let's see if we can move more. How about on top of the 10-minute walks, we just park a little bit further away on stuff? How about every time that we go to work? What if every time that we go to work, we park 100 yards away from the door? If you have that option, if the parking lot's that big, maybe you even have an option to ride your bike to work. You have an option to ride your bike to the store, things like that. Any opportunity we have for more movement is going to be great. You can even take the 10-minute walk rule and apply it to anything. You could say every hour on the hour that I'm awake, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. Every hour on the hour, I'm going to do 10 squats. Whatever it might be. 5 squats. Every time I use the bathroom, I'm going to do 5 squats when I'm done. Whatever way you want to do it. Just do it right at your desk, or however you want to do it. You can do it at your work. You can do it wherever you're at. All right, now let's move on to the next thing. Next thing is sleep. We make sure we're getting our sleep. I don't think a lot of you are taking this rule seriously enough, but I've mentioned this many times. Get your phones the hell out of your room. I know that everyone's got an excuse because it's my alarm clock. First of all, let's talk about that, because you shouldn't need an alarm clock. You shouldn't have an alarm clock waking you up. You may have an alarm to tell you that it's like kind of time to go to bed. It's time for you to start heading in the direction of bed. But if you sleep properly, you don't need an alarm clock. I haven't used an alarm clock in a really long time. I guess maybe the last time was I had to get on an early flight. I had to wake up at some weird time. And that was the last time I used one. But you shouldn't need an alarm clock. And if you need an alarm for anything, set it at night. Set it at 8, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time. Give yourself about 60 to 90 minutes to start to figure out how to go to sleep. Because figuring out how to go to sleep sometimes can be a little difficult because we're revved up from the day. If you have an opportunity to go into a hot tub, you have an opportunity to go into a sauna, you have an opportunity to take a shower, you have an opportunity to read. All those things are great options at night. Get rid of the phone about 90 minutes before bed, or an hour is reasonable as well. You might want to get some like blue blocker type glasses. I've been wearing them more recently. I found it's been helpful to me. It's kind of weird and super annoying, and all you want to do is go to bed because everything's red. We have lights on in my house, and I'm trying to keep the lights down a little bit too. That's another cheap tip there, or hack rather. Try to dim down the lights whenever you can, or if you can keep a light off if you keep a light on in a distance rather than light right over top of you. Having all this fake light on all the time is signaling to our brain that, hey, it might be time to still be awake. And so of course we don't want to shut down when we lay down and we just stare at the ceiling. All the coffee and everything else that we drink is setting us off. That's another thing. Coffee can stay in your system for a really long time. It can stay in your system for, I think, 8 hours, and some people think it might even be longer than that. So that's something to think about. Try to, if you're going to have coffee at all, push it off more into the morning hours as much as you possibly can. Quality of your sleep is going to be really important. You're going to want to develop some sleep hygiene. For me personally, I sleep a lot better after I took a shower. So it doesn't have to be immediately after, but right when I get home from the gym, when I get home from here, I get home from work, first thing I do usually is take a shower. Next thing I usually do is eat. Next thing I usually do is watch some TV with the wifey. And that's usually my night. Then I go to bed. So figure out what your routine is. Figure out what feels best for you. Next little life hack that we can do. Stay hydrated. Drink more water. You hear people talking about this all the time, but it's not really just more water. It's staying hydrated with electrolytes. And it's making sure you're getting in enough salt. Salt your foods, and you should be good to go on that. So stay hydrated and make sure you're drinking enough water. How much water should you be drinking? Well, you should be drinking water throughout the day, especially if you're exercising. You want to replenish the body with water, and you should occasionally, I know most people don't do this, but you should occasionally drink straight up just water. A lot of times we're drinking like tea or coffee or this diet soda or that diet soda or whatever it might be. Let's move on to the next category. One of my favorites, protein leveraging. Protein minded, protein priority. Make protein the priority. Protein is something that you have to get used to eating. If you think about sometimes with younger folks and sometimes older folks, they kind of eat the same. Old people eat soft stuff and they eat a lot of like carbohydrates, right? What does your grandma eat? You know, think about some of these people. So that's something else to consider, is to lock yourself in on protein. Younger people, kids, eat carbohydrates all day and all night, it seems like. One reason they're able to get away with it, which they really don't get away with it, but one way that they're able to not gain a lot of fat from it is because they move a lot. That's what we need to do. We need to make sure we're moving a lot. Like I said earlier, any opportunity that you have to stand. Any opportunity that you have to walk. Take the stairs, things like that. Protein leveraging is huge. You want to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And I would actually say, I would go out on a limb and say, if you were to get your protein in every day, let's just say you weigh 250 pounds, you get in 250 grams of protein. I would say you would be free to eat just about anything you want at night for one meal. Can't overdo it because the overall amount of energy we take in always matters. But I think protein is that important. And I think what would happen is, over a period of time, that whatever thing you ate at night, it would just be less and less, because protein can help shut down your hunger. It can help shut down your cravings. What it won't do is it won't necessarily negate, or it won't necessarily get rid of calories, and it certainly won't forever change your bad habits, but it can assist you with it. And that's really all that we're ever talking about. We're talking about losing weight. We're just talking about ditching some bad habits. We're talking about human behavior. We're talking about you going from having a handful of habits that are bad, that you're consistent with, by the way. So don't tell me that you can't be consistent, because you're consistent with what you're currently doing, which is just some of the wrong decisions, which all we got to do is tweak them. We just have to tweak them. We got to trade out that Snickers bar that you love to have after dinner when you're watching TV with a Quest bar. Or maybe even with nothing, because you don't need to eat. You probably just had dinner. You don't really need to eat. That brings us to our next thing. So the importance of protein, that protein leveraging is huge. Have 30 to 40 to 50 grams of protein in every meal. Do so multiple times a day. But our next category is get used to hunger. Become buddies with hunger. Learn that hunger is not bad. In fact, I would say that hunger is really healthy. I would say that, and I'm not talking about starvation, because a lot of people still in this world die from starvation. I'm talking about just some general hunger while you're watching TV. These pulses of hunger are usually kind of fake. And I'll give you an example of why they're fake. You have pulses of hunger that happen every day when you eat. You have pulses of hunger that happen every day when you don't eat. So that right there kind of indicates it doesn't even matter whether I eat or I don't eat, I still have pulses of hunger. When I was 330, I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't satiated. Does that make sense? I wasn't any more satisfied with my food or any more satiated with my food than I am right now at 230 pounds. A lot of that has to do with protein leveraging, but a lot of it also has to do with getting used to a little deprivation, and get a little deprivation, just a little bit. If we deprive ourselves too much, you're asking for a lot of trouble. It's going to be very difficult to do that. But we want to get used to hunger. We want to become friends with hunger. And we don't need to fast 20 hours every day or anything like that. All I'm asking you to do sometimes is end your food at the end of the night a little bit earlier. I actually think that's more important than skipping your breakfast, which you hear a lot of people do. I would rather see you push your breakfast back a little bit, because some people that say they skip breakfast are people that are really stupid, because anything that you eat that breaks the fast is breakfast. So it doesn't matter when you eat, timing wise. I know what they mean. I know they're saying like, I don't eat between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. I get it. But you're really an asshole, if I gotta be honest with you, because that's just dumb. Anytime that you eat after you've been fasting or to break a fast is break fast. It's breakfast. All right? So hopefully that clears that up. Get yourself comfortable with being a little bit hungry. And I would say it's more important, the most important thing I think a lot of people can do that are heavy is shut down the food earlier at night. Have yourself a good meal. It could be a well-balanced meal. You could have some mashed potatoes and some steak, some green beans with a Coke Zero. You can have an awesome meal like that. But that's the last meal, and that's at 5:30 or at 7 p.m. I know a couple of you are whining because you're like, I get home late. Well, you can adjust. Shut your food down 2 to 3 hours prior to going to bed. I know. Stop crying. It's really hard to do. I'm not saying that it's easy. But trust me when I tell you, aside from protein leveraging, because there's nothing more important than that, aside from protein leveraging, there is not a single better thing you can do for yourself than to shut your food down early. It doesn't have to do anything with if you eat carbohydrates at 8 p.m., you're going to turn into a werewolf or anything like that. Your hormones in your body and stuff, it's not related to any of that either. It's just related to bad habits. You know, my dad used to say, hey, nothing good happens past, I think he said 11 o'clock, right? Nothing good happens past 11 o'clock. Well, nothing good happens on your diet watch probably past about 7 p.m. for most people with a regular 9 to 5 schedule. Probably eating at 6 or 7 or maybe even 8. You can stretch it out to there. But do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, where's the damage being done? I know that you guys are doing this because I do this. I'm guilty of it. Self-sabotage. You're masochistic. You for some reason want to hurt yourself. For some reason you want to hurt your own progress. It doesn't actually really make any sense, but it's part of being a human being. Being a human being kind of reminds me of making like a stew or something, because A stew with no salt in it isn't really much. I heard this from Alan Watts. A stew with no soup in it really isn't much, but a stew with some soup in it's got just enough kick to it, right? And that's human beings. We have polarity. We have some opposite sides of the spectrum. We got a good side and we got a bad side. That bad side is always going to be hungry. Those devils are really hungry. They want to eat. And they're going to do everything they can to persevere. But we also have that good side, and we don't want to oversalt anything. You oversalt it, ruined. You got to throw the whole thing out. It's done. Nobody wants it now. So, you know, a lot of this stuff is very difficult to put into practice, but I believe that you can do it. I know that you can do it. These are some changes that I've made. What I usually do, because I have a sweet tooth, as soon as I'm done with my meal, as soon as I'm done with my food, whatever snack it is that I want, I eat it right then and there. A lot of times it's just a protein shake, because I love protein shakes. But you can make some wild ass protein shakes and they can taste really good. I'll sometimes just take Slingshot protein, dump a little bit of heavy whipping cream in there. Bam, it's amazing. So there's a lot of options, and you could take it further. You can have a different type of snack. It doesn't have to be what I'm eating, but it just needs to not be completely reckless. And you don't want anything really, you know, spiking your blood sugar or anything like that. So anyway, the key would be eat your dinner 5:30, 6 o'clock, maybe 7 o'clock, and whatever it is that you want next, boom, have that right away. Stack that right behind your dinner, and then shut it down, because now it's time for some intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting can be really beneficial. I recommend that you start out with doing about 10 hours, which is just 2 more hours than your normal sleep would be, or should be. Then we can ease our way into about 12 hours, and we're just going to do it about every other day. We don't really need to do it every day. If it feels good to you, do it every day, then go for it. Once you start getting into 16 hours, I don't think there's a lot of reasons to push it past that. And I think that it can start to kind of become negative. Done a lot of it, but I don't like the end result of it, because we got to keep this in mind, and this is where I'm going to end this thing. If you take in less, you will become less. So there's an opportunity for you to lose weight and to feel better. And you know that you'll feel better, you know that you'll look better, you know that you can be better. And what we can be, we need to be, right? We know these things. If you're not all you can be, then you're going to be in some despair. You're not going to feel great about yourself, because you're like, I could do better than this. Why am I still fat? What's wrong with me? Why am I still 100 pounds overweight? And then you start to examine that, and you start to run yourself through it. The truth starts to kick up, and you're even more frustrated with yourself. It's like, I don't understand. Why am I in this perpetual wheel of hurting myself and self-sabotaging my diet all the time? But what we need to figure out, how can we control our calories? We're going to do it with many of the tips and tricks that I shared with you today. We're going to also do it by occupying our mind with things that are going to help move us forward and move us towards our ultimate goal. I know that you guys can do it. It's a matter of implementing these small steps every day, small incremental progress. We don't start out by going to the gym. We don't start with 315 on the bar for bench press. Start out maybe moving the bar, maybe throw some 10s on the side, see how it feels, maybe get a little more weight on there. But we take our time. Week by week, month by month, year by year, we start to add more weight. And we start to recognize, oh wow, I can do that. Your body starts to tell you, oh yeah, we did this last week. We did the big plates we did 1 plate on each side last week. We did 10 reps very easily. Your body gets recalibrated. Your body's like, I know how to do that. I know how to fight through that. I know how to fight for that. You're going to learn the same thing by going through this diet progression. What I shared with you today, if you really look at it, it's all addition. I didn't subtract. I didn't take any food away from you. I didn't even really tell you what you should eat. I didn't even tell you what you shouldn't eat. This is all addition through subtraction. And this is the way that you're going to work your way into being less fat. We're after gaining more knowledge, putting that knowledge into practice, having it sometimes blow up in our face, and then recalibrating, recorrecting, and learning through error correction and through conjecture and through saying, oh man, that didn't work, but I wonder if I did this. I wonder if I took that out, how that would work. I wonder if I added this, how that would work. Small tweaks, incremental progress. That's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to have longevity with it. Share this information. Share this video. I know that you know somebody that's suffering. I know that you know somebody that's in despair right now that could use a lift. Let's lift each other up. I lifted a lot of weights in my time, but the greatest thing I'm ever going to lift is other people. I need you to help. We're trying to make the world a better place to lift, and I need recruits. I need people in the Power Project Army to go out there and start kicking some ass and taking some names, getting people fired up, getting people excited, getting people hyped up. Tell people to come check out this channel. In the comments below, let me know what things you've added into your life, not subtracted. What are things that you added into your life that ended up leading to you having huge progress in your nutrition, huge progress in your fitness. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch you guys later.